Good morning
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ambition for Breakfast, where we bring you food for thought
and inspiration for your soul. We are so excited for today's episode, you guys. We have one of my dear friends and longtime clients, Liam Ben David. He is the CEO of iBeauty brands, and he is just an absolute inspiration in our life and in our team's lives. And I've learned so much from him, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet him today.
He provides a lot of insight for business owners and entrepreneurs about how he was able to grow iBeauty brands from the ground up, his background as a soldier in the Israeli Air Force, and so much more. You guys, his work ethic is just incomparable, and we were so honored that he took the time to talk to us today.
Absolutely, you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and make sure you guys do follow him at Liam BD on Instagram. You can also follow along with his brands at Sutra Beauty. Feel free to reach out and give us feedback on this episode. We would love to hear from you.
Enjoy. All right, welcome everyone to Ambition for Breakfast. We're so excited to have Liam Ben David on the show today. Thank you so much, Liam, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Exciting, fun.
So we talk a lot about success on this podcast. So I want to know, was there a moment that you felt like, yeah, I'm successful? And what does success even mean to you?
Wow, we're jumping right into it. Good morning.
No, forget it.
Can I offer somebody a gumball? There's a gumball machine behind you.
We only got an hour, so we really want to make the most of it with you.
I know.
Jeez, lucky I'm after a cup of coffee.
Oh my gosh.
Well, wow. I mean, it's a big question too, but
Yeah.
But it's a great one. So to answer the first part of the question, no, I don't think there was ever. I don't even consider I think part of success is always to have a drive. If at some point you reach a level like, all right, I achieved what I want, perhaps, but if so, I haven't had that epiphany or moment. So, but yes, obviously I can look back at things or look at things right now and feel very proud and feel achieved. But I feel like a lot of people think that it's like a check mark, and driven or motive, people that have that ambition. I don't feel like I shouldn't say ever, but it isn't something that I will be or am quick to just mark off. Oh, I made it. I'm good. So next I can been there, done that. That isn't anything that's a thought or a feeling or that's pretty foreign to me. I'm always just constantly driving and reestablishing the goal, redefining the goals in order to keep pushing through and continue to be successful. So that was the first part of the question. And what is success to me? I mean, I think it's overall that also changed throughout time. I've been doing this since around 2005, 2006. I've been in the hair tool industry, in the hair industry in general. But I feel like those are just, it's like a micro definitions that just they change with time. Now I'm obviously I was a 25-year-old kid when I started, so the definition of success from those glasses, from that perspective, is way different than than it is now at the age of 26. Mm-hmm. Not really at the age of 40, but but yeah, I'm a father to a beautiful boy, soon to be he's about to have a sister as well. So the perspective and the definition of success obviously changes. It's if it would be the same from the lens of a 26-year-old and a 40-year-old, I think something would be wrong, so that changes, and I expect it to continue to change as I continue to gain more experience, both at home and professionally.
I love that. And it's insane too, because I actually met Liam when I was 26 and I was in his office pitching him social media with, I had one assistant at the time. I had my spiral ring notebook and I was taking notes about what he wants. And I would absolutely say that things are a little bit different now. And, I've just grown so much and I've learned so much from you over the years. And so I can absolutely concur with that, because obviously, there's just already been such a big difference in the last 4 years.
Well, congrats to everything that you've accomplished over the past. I can't even believe it's 4 years. Thinking back at that spiral notebook, I feel like it was probably, 7 or 8 years ago.
I know. That's how it feels.
Only 4 years. Amazing. So congrats to you. So yeah, you would, I would assume that again, going back to the Brianna of what was that? So 2016 or 17 with your spiral notebook, if I had to write, hey, what is your definition of success? Even 4 years ago, you probably already surpassed that today, where you are right now. So
right.
if we don't, ambitious people, they constantly define that because you don't know what you don't know. So, you're always like, oh, if I do this, I'm going to be so. No, it isn't. It's usually once you get to there, then you see it just opens up a whole new realm of good opportunities, challenges, good stuff, bad stuff that you just have to keep constantly redefine and tweak.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you a believer in fate?
In fate? Somewhat. I'm not. I don't want to fault. I don't like to. I definitely believe that there's more to everything around us than seen to the eye. There's whether it's karma but fate just sounds to me a lot of times like people are like, oh, it's okay, it's all for the better, and that's a good thing to say, especially when when you're in a not in the best state or something bad or tragic just happened. But a lot of time it also is sort of just an excuse. Like, listen, it isn't up to me. It's in the hands of fate. So there's a fine line between, just, not pushing because, you feel like, oh, this is my fate anyhow. And just justifying things or feeling better because that things have a higher or bigger, better purpose. So I definitely am in some sort of way, but I also am very firm and I know that it's up to me. At the end of the day, if I don't make it happen, it's not going to happen. Whether it doesn't have to physically be done with my hands, but I have to either will it or create it or assign it or I think that is a better approach for me to things than just thinking that it's fate, it's meant to be, or it wasn't meant to be. No, I feel like if I want it to happen, then I make it happen and it'll happen.
Yeah, you're the architect of your own destiny.
Yeah.
Well, take us back to the mindset of when you were young. Was there a certain profession or something you wanted to be when you grew up?
What do you mean when I was young? I'm still young.
What are you trying to say?
When you were 5, were you like, I want to be a doctor, or was there something that you aspired?
No. So I found like a stupid thing from like junior high. I think it was 7th grade, and everybody it was like, what are they going to be in a few years? And this was my first year back in the States, and so in 7th grade. So I mean, I'm pretty sure I was figuring out my my identity at the time anyhow, but I remember when people asked me like what I wanted to be, and I'm pretty sure it was an NBA player, a professional NBA a basketball player, but I was embarrassed to write that down, so I just put down businessman. And then I actually thought about it. I was like imagining myself. I didn't even know what a businessman meant. I just pictured, dressing up in a suit and a briefcase and hopping on planes. That's somewhat not far from reality. I mean, COVID aside, but I didn't even know what it meant. I had no idea, what the business would be. But I did see myself just doing stuff like not just being whatever and just something easily defined. Let's put it that way. like a teacher, an architect, or a doctor, a lawyer, that, like, feel like it's being a businessman, or in the word an entrepreneur. I didn't know what that was. It wasn't as trendy of a word in the 90s as it is today. But but I, but I feel like if I did know what it was, that would be what I would want to be when I grow up.
And so you did have like dual citizenship growing up. So you bounced between Israel and the States.
Yeah, my dad worked for the Israeli government. He was a diplomat here in the United States. So when I was 3, I moved to Los Angeles. When I was 6, I first and second grade I did in San Francisco. And then I was back in Israel till junior high. And then I did junior high and high school in Chicago before I graduated a year early, and I went back to Israel and to the army. I spent 3.5 years in the Air Force, and then traveled around the world for about a year or so, a year and a half, until I settled down here in LA 18 years ago.
Was there culture shock growing up, since there were, like, I would imagine, such huge differences in culture-wise between Israel and the US?
No, my mom is American, so I grew up with my cousins are like I have 100%, for me at least. I mean, I'm assuming that a lot of people, they feel that I'm slightly different than the typical American, but growing up, I mean, I've always felt very comfortable both when I wear my American hat or Israeli hat. I mean, I definitely feel comfortable in both cultures. There's always, as a kid, the first few months when you're in third grade, going back to a new country, new friends, but not from a cultural perspective. It was more like social. It's until you realize, and the same coming back to Chicago when I was 12. Or not back, we're moving to Chicago when I was 12. It's like establishing your life, your social circles from scratch every few years. It's very challenging, but I was always up for I feel like it put me in I'm just never afraid to start, fresh, to go to a new place and not have any friends, because I feel like as a kid, I've always just landed on, established my good surroundings fairly quickly. So that gave me that gave me tools growing up or as an adult.
Yeah, I mean, talking about never being afraid, I mean, I'm sure that was something that was very instilled in you while you were in the Air Force too. So tell us about some of the things that you were able to gain from that experience that you now can apply to your business in terms of leadership and what it means to be a part of a team and something bigger.
Wow, everything. Like everything. I attribute like so many of my day-to-day challenges, both from a leadership perspective, also just facing adversity. I mean, it's just everything. There's that I couldn't we could name off a few or talk about a few, but it's literally everything. Like the challenge of the challenges that an 18-year-old soldier, let's say 18, 19, 20, doesn't matter, it's 3.5 years, face when you know that you're training for combat and being shot at, or it's just insane, the mind process, that what your mind goes through. And then basically any challenging situation that I can find myself at, it's just minute. It's compared, like there's nothing in the world that you can put in front of me that I can't be, that I'll be like, wow, this is so, I can't, I'm over, this is too much for me, because I feel like I've already been through everything, both mentally and emotionally, and knowing people that were killed in combat or whether it's being shot at. It's insane. And not to mention all of the physical training, not the physical and leadership training that I've received. So it just makes managing that much more, I shouldn't say easy, because it's always a challenge, but it's more, I'm just more experienced and have slightly better insight in particular challenging managerial or leadership situations.
Yeah, absolutely. And so tell us how you go from that at such a young age to delving into the beauty industry.
It's just opportunity. I started I worked here in LA, I saved up some money, and I just wanted to do something independent. I wanted to do so I opened a cart in a mall back in like 2005. We were selling women's zip up, like these like cool purses that just zip up into this long string. And yeah, it was crazy.
Nice.
And it was down in San Diego. I just did it for like October, November, December. And next to me was like a few carts next to me, there were some people selling like curling irons, and they had no idea what they were doing. This is like way before now. You'll see this. You'll see the concept of curling irons or hair straighteners in almost every mall in America. But back then it wasn't. This was brand new. And some people they had no idea what they were doing, and I was like, wow, that's that's fascinating. And so that's sort of how I became attached to them, and I helped them out a lot. But a lot of my experience initially were back in like 2005, I think it was in that world, in that retail world. And then we immediately, we took it to the next level. I was, representing brands, doing road shows in Costco, the hair shows, all of these, specialty events. And I had a company that also sold different, I would buy from different companies and redistribute them in different outlets. So I just became very familiar with different different channels of the hair world, whether it's the professional or we're doing, selling to makeup artists at bridal shows, or if we were direct to consumers. It was just really interesting. I just remember seeing how everybody, they care about different things. When you're talking about the consumer, they're like, oh, does this burn your hair? That was like their first question. Whereas when you're talking to hairstylists, they could care less. They just want it to be fast and get the job done. So I just remember learning the dynamics of the different crowds.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, slowly, I always enjoyed it and just became better at it. And I believe you can be successful in anything. You just have to, strive to be the best. So I happened to be in the right place in the right time, or wrong place in the right time. But I just I kept on digging deeper and knowing, and learning more, and that's sort of how I got to where we are right now.
Yeah.
Where does that hustle and drive come from?
You work on it. You have to just keep. Without drive, then you're not. It's everything. It's the basics of everything for everything. You work on it. Sometimes you do become more complacent, and but you just have to find the things that give you drive. That it's either establishing goals for each department for each sales department in the company. Not only sales, by the way, it's not only sales. It's goals are usually sales driven, but you could do it for everything. You could do it for accounting. You could do it for customer service. But people perform better with a goal in front of their face. So it's not only the drive for me. It's also translating that drive to everybody here in the office, or definitely every department, and getting everybody on the same page and driven towards that same goal. That common goal. And then you're unstoppable when it's not only me pushing, a team of 20 something odd people forward, and we're all pushing forward as one unit. Then we're really unstoppable. And there's nothing, there's the opportunity is just endless.
Yeah, so Sutra right now is about a company of 25 employees. But when you first started a decade ago, what did that look like? And how were you able to put the right people in place who you knew, okay, they're going to grow with me and they're going to grow with this business and stick with me in the long run?
So I didn't. I didn't know how to do that. I mean, that's something that I still feel, when I interview anybody, you always hope that this person will grow with you and, and be in it to win it for the long haul. But there are no guarantees. A lot startups do this through options, through shares, but I don't know about any of that. I've never, this business was really started without any idea of how to start a business. I just figured stuff out as I go. So the structure, it isn't like, I had an angel investor and then, or Series A, round A, all those things. No, I didn't do any of that. I didn't know how to do any of that. If I could start everything all over again, I'd do it in a much smarter way. But I did it. But that's a good way to get people in it long term, that you see in the world of startups, whether tech or not. I didn't. So it's strictly the fact that people want to, they want to be in it because they believe in you or they believe in the common goal. And you just have to give them that, provide an environment that they see themselves, that they're happy with day to day, and then they see the growth and they see themselves in the future and they see where they're going. And as long as you share that, then the good people, they're going to stay with you.
How do you provide that?
Huh?
So how do you provide that environment?
You try, it's not like I don't feel like there's a recipe. I also don't feel like that's something that I've been able to flawlessly accomplish. It's like that's one of the things that I'm constantly succeeding and failing and tweaking. So a lot of times when it's someone that you see them long term and you see the value of that particular employee in the future of the company, you just want to make sure that they're constantly happy. But not only now, that they also see the future, not only of the company, they see themselves growing with the company, and they're like, wow, I could, I see a lot of opportunity going forward, within the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And if you can create that vision with them, then they will be happy. As long as, I'm assuming you're paying them well.
Yeah. I was going to say too, because we're going through like our own growing pains right now as well. And we're growing at a pretty rapid pace, especially when it comes to, our team. And, I look at Sutra too, and I feel like I look at your brands and I feel like, you're saying that you have 25 people who work at Sutra. It seems like there's 100 people that work at your company at iBeauty Brands. Like, it seems like there's hundreds of people who work for you. Like, how do
good or bad?
No, I mean, honestly, it's how do you do that?
So we're iBeauty Brands. That's the shell company. Sutra is one of our brands. It's probably our most well-known brand. But that's also something that we're trying to establish. We're trying to establish ourselves as a to be more known. Like, a lot of times you deal mostly with Sutra, so a lot of people refer to us as Sutra, and I get it. But we want to make sure that people know us for who we are, and that's iBeauty Brands. And yes, we have created Sutra, but we have also other brands, and we're continuing to develop other brands in the world of hair tools. So that's just something I wanted to squeeze in there. Regarding I don't even think, like, I think we're more than 25. But I mean, it's just, there's a lot of different ways to grow from an employer's perspective. So one is, once you have the obvious demand or the need for a particular position, then it's usually you feel like there's, like you're missing out, whether it's customer service, you feel like you're plugging somebody in to a position that is much needed, that you're missing opportunity. People are complaining. That's not good. The trick is to be ahead of the game and to anticipate your growth and where you're growing, and to have someone actually in a particular position even before you're actually hurting for it. For instance, sales. So every year we'll map out what our sales goals are for the year and what channels and where we want the sales to come from. And I will restructure a hire based on that. So if we want our .com to be at X, to grow X this year, and I realize, all right, we have one person on .com, then that's fairly unrealistic. So beginning like Q1 of that particular year, we'll already hire based off of what is the manpower that we need in order to achieve a particular goal. And then other things fall into place. So if this is our company goal in a matter of revenue, then we're going to need obviously more merchandise. More merchandise means more support in the purchasing department. So right now we have one person. Is that sufficient? Or do we need another part-timer, another, so that's sort of how it all stems from your original forecast or projection, something that I've never really been good at, but over the experience is everything. And, from year to year, we just become better and, and put more focus on the forecasting aspect, which is something that I absolutely, I don't enjoy, but it's crucial. And you need to be good at it in order to not play catch up, because once you're playing catch up, then you're already chasing your tail. It's an uphill battle as is, even if you do everything right. So you don't want to create more obstacles for yourself than needed.
Are you doing the forecasting alone?
No. I wouldn't. I'd be applying for a job. I'd be applying for a job to comment on your brand's Facebook post if that was. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm bad at. I know what I like. I know what I don't. And I'm involved and I approve, the forecasting and the orders, and it comes from my direction. But I cannot be on. I mean, I just, all right, whatever. We need something like it's data. It's a science. And once you're good at the science, then you can nail things down to exactly what you need, both from a quantity and a timeline perspective. And if the company was in my hands from a forecasting perspective, it would be catastrophic.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's good that you recognize that too, and you're working with people who are able to do that. And I see you leveling up in so many different areas. You are our first client to work with, really, really dabble in media buying and be successful and create success from that, which has been amazing and such a huge learning experience for our company, because there weren't a lot of brands doing that, and I feel like it was really, really successful just for the brand that we are working on underneath iBeauty brands. But I wanted to circle back, because Karen and I were talking about this earlier, and we want to know, are you still doing your hiring? Like, do you still interview every single employee?
I think yeah, I mean, I won't do the initial one, but they're gonna, but ultimately I'll approve, I approve most hires. So if it's someone that's going to be working directly under me, or if they're going to report to me, then obviously I'm going to do the hiring A to Z, or maybe not the posting, but I'll go through the resumes and I'll do the initial and the secondary interview. If it's someone, whether it's it just depends. If it's someone, we have a sales manager, so anybody in the sales team, our sales manager is gonna do the initial sorting, filtering, interview, and then he'll bring to me, let's say, his top 3 candidates, and then I'll interview the top 3, and we'll make a decision together. Same in accounting, same, creative, whatever. But if it's someone that's reporting directly to me, then I'll do I'll spearhead that process A to Z. It all depends on where the employee needs, what department he belongs to.
Is there a special quality that you look for in someone that okay, I'm going to hire that person?
I think the qualities I look for in particular positions are different. So for instance, creative is completely different than sales. Like if sales, you want to see that the person is driven and, ambitious and has drive and understands the particular channel that he or she is supposed to be selling into. Whereas if this is, let's say, if it's an administrative position, then you want to look for more organization. Also, drive is important almost everywhere, but not necessarily, for instance, in accounting or in creative. And even that, there's a higher. It depends if it's someone with responsibility or a supervisor. Supervisor role, then yeah, you do need to look at different leadership qualities than if it's someone that is only that has nobody reporting to him or her. Then the leadership, although it's a huge plus, it isn't necessarily a quality that it all depends on the position. Yes, there are particular qualities that I will look for particular positions, but there isn't one global. Oh, you have it. That's it. You fit everything. Just like if I was to interview for a graphic artist, I think I'd be the worst applicant or candidate in the world, both because of my personality and obviously my abilities. But there isn't like I don't think many people are the best. You can't be the best at everything. So you just try to find the best for that particular position.
Mm-hmm. I want to circle back on something you said earlier about how if you could do it over again, you would do certain things differently. What are those things? And for any like entrepreneurs listening, what advice could you give to them?
Just the structure, the legal structure and accounting, put more focus on the books, the stuff that when you're at the beginning, you're just pushing forward. You don't really you don't notice any of the, you don't notice the stuff that's so crucial. Once you're like a medium-sized business, you're like, oh, who cares about that stuff? It doesn't help me. All you care about is primarily one thing, and that's selling, bringing in money. The second thing you care about is spending less, and everything else doesn't matter. It's just, but there's so, and I'm talking about the very beginning. But the structure is so important as you grow, whether it's the legal or the accounting structure, and understanding that, because you can't make it to the next level without understanding, whether it's forecast or cash flow or just having a plan and it's all this stuff. It's contracts, and it's just the way your legal entity is set up. It's trademarks, it's patents, it's all of those things that I learned through mistakes as I went, as we grew into things, and just knowing all of that, I'm like, wow, if I could start this now with the mountain of knowledge that I've experienced, that I've acquired over the past decade and a half, that would be it'd be game over. It's just crazy.
Oh my gosh. I don't even have a mountain. I have a pile of knowledge at this point, but I would do very, very similarly, different things. And I
feel like you also need to go through those problems in order to learn.
Yeah, totally. 100%. And you don't know what until like you're looking back on it, you don't know that you're doing it the wrong way. Until you're really able to look back and be like, why did I start us like this? Oh, great.
Right.
So, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. I think I also want to really talk about, like, you're really able to pivot your guys' structure when COVID first hit. And I know that we were already talking about ad spend. We were already doing ad spend, but how did that change your business for you? And like, how did you even get your head into the space where, hey, we need to do ad spend?
We need to go, we need to focus on digital marketing, you mean?
Yep.
That was, so we're very, very, we're multi-channel. So we have different brands, and even, particular brands that we're in different, we cross-sell into different channels, but we always try to make sure that, no one gets hurt or undercut, God forbid. But we're in a lot of different places. So upping up our online game, although I wasn't sure what brand we wanted to do this with, but that's been something that's been on my mind since 2017. And in 2017, we tried something. I hired someone in-house. It didn't go well. So we just, we tabled the idea. And for now, everything is just temporary. And then there was more opportunity there, towards the end of 2018. And then we were revamping the website, and we're like, all right, that's a good time to do it again. So, we hired someone. It was a catastrophe. We hired someone else to revamp the entire website. And then, finally I hired one agency. It's just, once you're committed to doing something, then it's a matter of time till it catches on. You were only sort of indulged, as far as you're concerned. We started this beginning of 2020, but no, I actually probably fired 2 or 3 people or agencies prior to that. So you only see, I'm not afraid to, it's fail small, win big, so all right, I'll try this, it won't work, next, try it, won't work, next, try it, won't work, next, and then try it, works, now, all right, you're pushing up a lot, more. Then now you start to learn and turn this into a big source of revenue or attention or growth for the company. But you don't, there's constant experiments that we have here in different channels that we fail left and right. Part of them are, stuff that we do together as well. I'm not afraid of failing. If we fail, all right, next, table it. Well, then now we know either what we did wrong and how to tweak it in order to make it be better, or this is an absolute catastrophe and I want nothing to do with this. We can focus our attention on a different idea. But if it's fine, because I try to cap our losses in different projects. So so that's why I like it. It's fail small, win big. So if you fail, all right, then that was the experience. But if this does actually turn into a something successful, then the win there is big. It's something that can open up a whole new channel for the company.
And has it been successful?
Digital, yeah, absolutely. Again, a year. So we're in sort of year 2 or 3. And we're so much better now. We're quicker to produce content. We know we know who we are. We know what does well, what the audience wants to hear. When at the beginning we had when COVID hit, the styling one blew up, and we just weren't ready for such a digital to have a digitally successful product. And we were smashed with customer service. It's just a whole new angle that we weren't used to, but we've adjusted, we've established, the foundation. So now we're really ready for what we considered then as huge growth. And it was an overload on our system. Now it's our day-to-day. It makes no, we handle that business routinely. So it's cool to look back and be like, wow, I remember seeing this volume and considering that we literally, people from the front office were in the back packaging boxes, and now we do it, routinely.
What are some things you can tell to kind of speak on for other business owners of things to look for in a digital marketing agency and things to avoid?
In a digital marketing agency, things to look for. You
Yeah.
want people to connect to you and your brand and what you're selling. And I feel like it's such an important relationship. You also have to establish your goals. What are your goals? Is it just exposure and impressions? Or are you actually looking to move units? Is it an experience? Is it a subscription? So I feel like just like any other agency or experts, you want to make sure that whatever your goals are, you find a good agency that is aligned, that is good at what your goals are. Because there's some people that are better at subscription types of products or services. It could be digital apps. It could be a digital. There's so many different things you could be looking to push online. 1 second, sorry. So that, you know, as long as your objectives are aligned with the strong suits of the agency, I think that's a big plus.
So Sutra was like one of the first adopters of infrared technology. Did you have kind of like a light bulb moment where you were like, yeah, I know this is going to be huge?
So the entire industry has been using the concept of infrared, like heating, even without infrared. Like I remember seeing it on packaging of you know, so many brands, like infrared heat, and I'd always wonder from day one, like, why people like infrared. To me sounds like something you need to see, right? Like it isn't like a concept that you could just say, all right, it's infrared, you know, like sort of like so many different things that we're marketed to, but you just have to believe that it's there. Like, I don't know, like electrolytes in your drink or stuff, you know, stuff that you just like, all right, you know, it says it, then I guess it's there. But then when we started testing different actual infrared, like straighteners or hair tools with real infrared, then I started digging into, hold on, this just looks like a red light, right? And then I started digging into what actually certified infrared and real infrared is, or just the difference between that and just red lights, and noticing and testing products and noticing there's a huge difference. And that's when we launched our original infrared hair straightener. It was just a hit overnight, which later became our IR2, which is, you know, it's a timeless hair straightener. It's the best hair straightener ever.
It's untouchable.
We can vouch for that.
Yeah.
And then it's around that item, sort of, we we're like, wow, this is so good, and like the feedback is just phenomenal. So we wanted to continue that success. So then we did it with other things, and then we came out with a curling iron, a blow dryer, the second blow dryer. Now we have the infrared thermal brush, which is an absolute hit. I don't know if you've tried it yet. So that's sort of the evolution. No, it isn't like something that growing up I had passion towards IR, but it's just something that I noticed about 4 or 5 years ago, that it's the real deal. Plus it's so beautiful, and it has a visual effect to it as well. So this is something that we can ride on and easily and market easily. And I believe the market's gonna love it because the quality is there. It's pretty, it's, you know, visually appealing. It isn't like this concept that you're buying into that you can't physically see. So right. There's just a lot of pluses to it. Plus it's the advantages on your hair, safer heating, etc. Quicker, faster, better. It was a no-brainer. And now the entire industry is on it. There's no one shying away from it. But it's fun to know that. I mean, I feel like I'm not familiar with other brands that were on it, you know, before we were.
Same.
Yeah. I'm so curious just like what your product development process is like, and how many tools are you creating that like never end up on the shelf?
I could, if I move the camera a little, then you see like just dead projects, or projects in the makings that aren't necessarily going to make it, or they might make it or it might change. So many. I love the product development aspect of the business. I feel like I'm good at it because of the experience that we started the conversation with it. I've heard and seen and been hands-on with so many different end customers and consumers that I just know what will fit who. And so I'm just really in touch with that, and I enjoy the development as well. Like creating something from nothing is just, it's awesome. It's fun. I'm looking to the side because I'm just looking at, you know, at tools that we're working on, but it's constantly, and we're constantly trying to develop other things. There's so many, the thought process is so deep, and it's so multi-layered. Like there's pricing you have to keep in mind towards that target audience. It's, you know, where are you going to sell this into? Because if it's, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that there's enough beef in the project. You know, I can't make an $1,100 blow dryer. You know, it's probably going to be way too expensive for us to develop. And second is no one's going to buy it, you know, so you have to be conscious of like where you want this to be. So we want an awesome item that's going to land at the $100 cost. So, you know, working backwards, what, you know, what you have to work with. And a lot of it doesn't, you know, it ends up dying out. We have a lot of things like patented items that are fully developed, but there's just one thing that we still haven't figured out. So it's like it's been on, it's on hold and for over 3 years. We have other stuff that just get ditched completely. We have other products that we've launched but weren't that successful, or products that we've launched and then we've tweaked. So it's just, there's no one answer there. It's very, very, the process is it's scattered and splashed all over the drawing board. It's a fun one.
Well, yeah, as a CEO, I'm sure you have to wear so many different hats every day. What do you feel like is your strength, though?
My strength is wearing different hats.
I love it.
Multi-talented.
It's putting on, you're right. I mean, sometimes within 15 seconds, I'll go from like in a finance meeting to a creative meeting or a sales meeting or legal. It's like, it's crazy, but the polarity of topics of conversation that I have on a daily basis is it's fun. You know, it's stuff that I can begin to try to explain to particular people, but if someone's, you know, visiting or shadowing me for even just an hour, they're like, they feel like I have a disorder. Like it's just constantly bouncing back from one topic to another, and they have nothing to do one with the other. So I mean, were you asking what particular hat I wear best? I don't know.
Yeah, or is it like the innovation, or you just know instinctually what's going to work?
No, I mean, I've launched a lot of this particular items that I looked at and they were like, all right, we'll give it a try, but I don't see this working, or stuff that we've passed on. And, you know, I see, you know, we've seen had success with other places or areas or companies. So you don't get them all right. It's just the trick is to get them right more often than wrong, or get them wrong when it's small and right when it's big. So that's in regards to product development. And regarding the hats, is there one that I'm better than the other? Probably, but I try. It doesn't matter, because if you have to put the hat on, you have to put the hat on. You know, it doesn't matter. So you know, I try to enjoy it. There are particular ones that I enjoy that I enjoy more than others. But it is what it is. If it's something that I need to do, or need to be part of, or need to be the best at, then that's what I'm going to strive to do.
I like that. Yeah. Cause me and Bree talk about that all the time. You know, there's just aspects of the job that aren't going to be fun, and that's just a reality of it, but you can still love what you do and be great at things that you might not naturally gravitate towards.
Yeah, totally.
100%.
So watching some of your stories is kind of like watching the Travel Channel from time to time. And I'm not sure if it's because you're posting more often, but I don't remember this from a few years ago. So I want to know from you, like, when did you start incorporating your work-life balance?
Is it something that I'm more often? What was the thing you said? What was the word? I missed the word.
If you're posting more often, I don't know what it is, but I did not see this Travel Channel from you like a few years ago. So I'm not sure if it's just because you're posting more often, I'm seeing it on your stories more, or I want to know like when you started kind of incorporating your work-life balance.
I think always. I mean, I work hard. I work very hard. But I always, you know, I try to make time for family, make time for vacation. You know, you have to remind yourself what you're working for. I have no, you know, I'll always want to reward success with, with whatever it is, whether it's a particular thing that you wanted that's super expensive, then I'll give myself, all right, this is what I need to do, whether it's a car or a watch, or I don't care. That these are company goals. If we do A, B, C, and if we hit them, then this is going to be my bonus, my promotion, my whatever you want. We're human. At the end of the day, we're made of the same DNA, and everybody needs drive. So there are, little things that you need to do for yourself to continue to maintain the drive. But that's off topic. Back to the work of the balance. I feel like I've always been pretty good at it. My wife would tell you otherwise, but
love her.
But I mean, it's always been, I've always made time for vacation. Perhaps I'm posting a little more often. I have, a wife that looks much better than me on camera, and a son that's much cuter than me on camera. So maybe that gives me more of a justification to post more often. I feel like I don't post enough. Vacations, COVID really, there was a particular time in COVID that I just had more free time, and coupled with the fact that there was just bargain deals in the world of travel. So I do feel like we did some different, like the RV trip we had this year. There was in Mexico a few times, Bora Bora, like this. It's definitely been more than the usual vacation year, 2020.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but normally I travel way more.
Right.
Because I'll have the entire circuit of hair shows. I'll be in China twice. We'll do Bologna. I'll go to Israel at least once a year, visit my family probably twice. So I've traveled a lot less. But yes, vacation was enhanced, no doubt.
Is that kind of your preferred
I'll say
method?
Cheers to that. I have no issue with it.
Yeah, when you get kind of overwhelmed with work, do you just book a trip?
No, it's on the cards. It's the exact opposite. Like overwhelming equals more work. You have to, sort these projects out, get everything in, like if you just book a trip when I'm overwhelmed, I try to be overwhelmed. I try to make sure that I'm overwhelmed only when I'm justifiably overwhelmed. When there's a lot, there's more work than time. So it means you need to put in more time in order to alleviate that overwhelming sensation, or just work. It could be just stress, and you just have to, breathe deep and write down everything you have to work on. Like, oh, it isn't that bad. I can figure all this stuff out. But when I go on vacation, I try to make sure that my plate is actually less full. So, so I can enjoy having a margarita at the pool on, Friday at 2:00, rather than, being on the phone and putting out fires.
I hear you.
Well, yeah, I can't believe it's almost been an hour, and I know you're a super busy man, but we before you go, we want to know just where does the future of iBeauty brands go from here?
The future is very bright, and not because of the ring light that's flashing on my face right now. We have a lot of opportunity. I mean, we want to establish ourselves. We already are. We're establishing ourselves, but we're going to continue to put focus on establishing ourselves as the premier umbrella company. The premier company for all hair. We want to be the hair tool experts. We already are. So whether it's a big private label, a project for a big retailer, then that we spearhead, or it's different brands for different avenues. Now we were just launching an Amazon brand that's just for Amazon only, TV brands, obviously online, professional, retail. So just having different labels and collaborations, social media influencer collaborations. That's something we really believe in. And we've put it as a focus for this year, as you're familiar with. So it's just there are just so many different places and tools and different I don't know if it's channels or audiences that like different things, and we just know how to relate to everybody. So it's just sharing our expertise and our products and developments with with different audiences.
Amazing.
And just being like the best hair tool company. Just people know, all right, I need a good hair tool, I'm going to go to iBeauty brands. That's how it works. Whether it's a consumer or a brand or a collaboration or an influencer, it doesn't matter. Like, people need to know that we're the best in this field.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that.
Yeah, we're so honored to be a part of that ride and to be a part of your journey and to watch Sutra and iBeauty brands continually grow. And we're just so grateful to have you on our show today.
Yes.
Thanks. It's been fun.
Where can our followers follow you?
I'm on Instagram at LiamBD, LIAMBD, and the company. I mean, we can follow any of our handles. You should.
We'll plug them in.
Those better than I do.
Yes, absolutely. We'll definitely tag them in our caption and make sure you guys follow Liam, and you can follow his brands as well. And we're just so thankful for you to come on today and to introduce you to our audience. You're so inspiring, and you are absolutely 100% a breadwinner. So thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thanks
Liam.
a lot. And thanks for the continued friendship and time. And
Yes.
it's been a fun 4 years. Let's make sure the next 4 are just as fun.
Yes, 100%.
Love
All
it.
right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
You guys so much for listening. And if you guys want to follow us, make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at
Ambition for Breakfast with the number 4 on Instagram. And you can follow me and Brianna. I'm at Written by Karen on Instagram.
and I'm at Brie Armstrong.
Thanks so much for listening.